Thanks for being with us. This is Home Wizards, where we love to improve your home and improve your life. I'm Cindy Doyle.
Hey, I'm Eric Stromer.
And boy, shelving is something that we want to do in our home, Eric. And I know that you've done a lot of shelving, and I've come up with some ideas. I love the whole idea of shelves that are just floating. We've talked about that
like
before.
black shelves.
Yeah,
as they call them at the IKEA. Where the ones that plug into the wall,
exactly.
And there's a bracket that actually receives the shelf. Yeah, those are pretty cool.
Yeah, or we even talked about using books in that way, where the book becomes the shelf.
That's it.
And it looks like it's floating, right?
Yeah, that's from the miracle of L brackets.
Yeah.
And that the L brackets sit on the wall, the one side, and then the L comes out, and then you put a book
right
over
in there.
over those L's.
And it's like it's a
ghost.
And
then you stack a couple books on that. It's like hovering books.
So I thought you could help us walk through the whole idea of assembling today and installing some kind of a shelving system, whether it's inside our home or in our garage, because there's different techniques. And I'm not a fan of these metal brackets they call metal standards, and they have like the little, they're like these two bars with the holes in them, and then you insert stuff inside. Why would you want to use that?
Well, it's a system that's developed where it can fasten onto the drywall or into the studs. And the only problem with it is if you don't line up those slots, you can't really judge what's level and what isn't, so that you plug in the little things that
you don't judge.
No, not me. I'm not a judge. unless you're great with a level and you have a long 6-foot level, it's kind of tough to get those, because if you measure from the floor up, oftentimes the house isn't level and then the shelves end up looking kind of cattywampus. So I don't know. I'm not crazy about those. I just like going right into the drywall or the studs. Mm-hmm. With an L bracket or some kind of thing that you can buy that actually becomes the support system for the shelf itself. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And oftentimes I think that, the more extra stuff you have.
How about corbels? I've liked the
corbels. Those are pretty.
You get some of the different corbels that are either just wooden or different formats. You get them like at the Home Depots or Lowe's, right?
That's right.
And then you don't want too ornate. Sometimes they're kind of goofy.
Yeah,
they're a little too.
It depends on the design style, because what happens is the shelves ultimately want to just sort of disappear. You don't want to draw much attention to them. It's what's on them that you care about.
Well, I guess maybe step one is, why do you want to have a shelf? Is it for more storage to hold heavy things?
That's right.
Or is it for nice little light tchotchkes, decorative things?
Sure. The great thing you can do now is go into any home improvement store, and there will be an entire shelving section, because this falls
like a kit or something?
Yeah, this falls into organization. It falls into decorative. So there's many different options. So, for example, if you're going to do shelves in the garage this weekend, oftentimes the studs are revealed and your garage is not drywalled, so it's really easy to figure out how to do it. So you just, for example, if you have a workbench area and you want to put a couple of shelves over the top of that, some simple L brackets will do the trick. They're about, I'd say about 6 to 8 inches both directions in a right angle. Mm-hmm. Those can screw with wood screws directly into the studs. You can have a level on each stud and make a pencil mark all the way across the garage, and then you make that mark, put those L brackets in. So right at the top of the right angle bend is where you'll line up your line, right? And you do that all the way across, maybe 3 in a 6 or 8 foot range if you want to do 8 foot long shelves. And you screw them in, pre-drill a little bit with those, mark the holes in the L brackets so that you know where you're going to drill, right? Mm-hmm. And superimposed on either the drywall or the stud itself. Put those up, put the piece of plywood up on top, and you got yourself an instant shelf. Very, very simple to do, effective, efficient. You can
and
get
stylish.
So much stuff
What
off
if you were
the floor.
to use like pegboard?
Yeah.
And could you then have that, like you pick a nice big piece of pegboard and have that on a wall?
Yeah.
Let's say it is in your garage or maybe even in a laundry room. Could that then be the foundation for then assembling shelves like on top of it?
Probably not.
No?
It's not going to be have enough heft to hold the weight of something. So
even if it were like light little metal brackets or little...
Not really. It has to be anchored into either drywall that's got a drywall receptacle in it. Those plugs that you can drill into the drywall itself to hold. Those will hold about 60 to 80 pounds per screw. So multiples of those, and I think you're a lot better off. Pegboard's great though for hanging tools or or very lightweight systems. For things that you're not going to.
Because I was thinking, like, a lot of people like to keep their gardening supplies in their garage up off the floor, right?
Yeah.
And I was thinking if we had pegboard of some kind, we could use very light little hooks or shelves of some kind, but maybe not ideal.
Yeah, and the thing with pegboard is that it has to have separation between the board and then the surface below it or behind it, because the pegboard system works by plugging in these little metal tines that then hook into those holes, and you've got to have room to get behind that pegboard for that to work, right?
Would you think that in a garage, because of moisture problems that can arise, right?
Yeah.
And maybe even for the laundry room, is it a better idea to not have wooden shelves and maybe go with metal shelves or some other kind of surface?
The wood is okay if it's a storage shelf in a garage. That's okay, definitely. Okay. Or you could paint it if you want a design sensibility to it. But here, let me tell you, the key to shelving is that you can do these really simple installations that you would think you would only do in a garage, but when you put facing on the edge of the shelf, that dresses it up, and that's basically how all bookshelves are made. They're really just made with plywood, and then they affix facing onto the front of it, and that gives it its decorative aspect, right? So whatever you decide to do, it's all the same system. It's very rudimentary and simple, but it's the facing that really makes it stand out. Yeah.
And so how much is facing?
Well, facing is just made by a piece of 1x wood that you cut to length, and you create your corners with the edging if you're going to see it go around. And it's really just that simple. You use a little bit of wood glue, and then you screw the facing into the edge of the plywood. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So let's talk about the tool list then. So what would we need to if we wanted to do some of these kind of shelves in a day, and we could probably do it for in a day easily, right?
Sure.
We'd want to have.
Keep in mind, a 4x8 sheet of plywood is about $35, and it's a 3/4 inch piece of plywood. You can have that ripped at the home improvement store in 8-foot lengths by 1 foot, so you could get 4 1-foot shelves for $35 for 1 sheet of plywood.
But you'd want to have a stud finder and a leveler.
You want a stud finder and a level, a screw gun, and a drill, and that's basically it. Unless you're going to cut the shelves yourself, but I recommend you do it at the hardware store because they'll be able to cut it for you for very inexpensive, if not free. And then you're just showing up with those 4 8-foot lengths of plywood. That becomes your shelving, and then your metal brackets and your drywall screws or regular screws. That's it. So basically you could get, what's 8 times 4? 32? 32 linear feet of shelving for about $50 total. That's a ton of storage.
That's very nice.
Yeah, isn't it?
That is nice. And if you wanted to do something decorative, because that's the other thing, is I love shelves that have enough depth to them so that you can put something substantial on them, but that it also doesn't look like it's just particle board, that it looks like it's almost like furniture.
That's right.
So what would you recommend in terms of, you don't want it to look like it's just, homogenized, like you're just in some, cafeteria. You want it to look like it's really homey and personalized.
It's all in the facing, my friend.
Oh, that's all in there?
All in the facing. You can have any shelf material, but if you have, either a piece of molding that you buy or a 1x piece, you can even detail it and scribe it with different patterns.
Nice.
That's why library shelves look like they're library shelves and substantial, because somebody made great looking facing. Yeah, it's very simple once you get the hang of it.
What's your middle name? Facing or something?
Eric Facing Stromer. Yeah, that's exactly it.
Facing this, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, well, those are some good tips. I mean, really, we can easily. That is something that you don't have to be a hardcore DIYer to do this. We can all do this.
Yeah, it's trial
easy
and error.
For an apartment.
If you make holes in the wall, it's a little bit of putty and
fill it in.
Fix all, you're done. Over. It's not that big a deal.
All right, very good idea.
Don't be afraid.
We have more great things to talk about, and all you have to do is go to the website to hear it all again. We have the podcast up there. That's up on iTunes as well. Just go to yourhomewizards.com and just email us and let us know what you're up to, okay? Just check us out, yourhomewizards.com. Eric Stromer, Cindy Dole, we love to improve your home and improve your life. This is Home Wizards.